Dear God, please forgive this life of mine. In the past I was blind, but now I see. Dead or alive, I truly wonder what's worse to be. Even though I never lived a life of crime, dear God, please forgive this life of mine. In the past I was blind, but now I see. Dead or alive, I truly wonder what's worse to be. So many people speaking speculations, no reservations, until we end up face to face. Interrogation, your ignorant insinuations have got you facing an escalating situation. Your termination, switching to a different mode. You know the code, you know the show and how it go. I want your soul, you've been bold, but now it's time to fold. Situation getting hot, my heart is getting cold. Out of control, been exposed to so many types. Damn right, I wonder how they sleep at night. To be suffice, the ones that talk behind my back, put on the act, and the ones that say it to my face, put on their back. This reality and far from fiction, no contradiction. Refuse to lose or be a victim. Corrupted system, put my life on the line. Dear God, please forgive me for this life of mine. This life of mine. I never lived a life of crime. Dear God, please forgive this life of mine. In the past I was blind, but now I see. Dead or alive, I truly wonder what's worse to be. Even though I never lived a life of crime, dear God, please forgive this life of mine. In the past I was blind, but now I see. Dead or alive, I truly wonder what's worse to be. Guilty by association, incrimination. They fake, they hate, they can't relate. Ain't no relation, they treat me like I don't belong. Discrimination, they acting like I did them wrong. Accusations, I watch the world with wicked eyes. To my demise, a look that's so conspicuous I can't disguise. No mask to cover up my face, I can't conceal. Any time of the day, anywhere, any place, I show the real. No love between me and you, because you fake. I still fulfill the will to live. You sealed your fate. We've been lied to our whole lives. It's time to rise. You standing in my way, you die. No compromise. You supposed to be opposing me? Well, think again. In the end, I still chose revenge. My only friend. Now I see I am no longer blind. Dear God, please forgive me for this life of mine. This life of mine. I never lived a life of crime. Dear God, please forgive this life of mine. In the past I was blind, but now I see. Dead or alive, I truly wonder what's worse to be. Even though I never lived a life of crime, dear God, please forgive this life of mine.
All right, gentlemen, we've been over the rules. Protect yourself at all times. Follow my instructions. Keep it clean. Touch gloves if you wish. Let's do it.
What's up, Straight Talk Society? This is your host, Trevor, and I'm back with another episode of Straight Talk Reviews, UFC 286, Edwards versus Usman. Real quick, I need a sound check. Just let me know that you guys hear me. Yeah, thinking Black. That intro was dope. I know my guesses. I told him I got something for them. Shout out to producer extraordinaire Venkat. Y'all, let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me before I bring the guest on. I guess I could do it this way. Okay. Yeah, I keep forgetting that I got my phone right here. So you guys see the title. You know what it is. We're reviewing UFC 286 that took place yesterday. So one of my guests fell off. Brian Bartlett. I'm thinking this is this brother I was supposed to be talking to on Friday. Okay, you guys hear me loud and clear. I see Zay fell off. I'm gonna bring Bones up. Hopefully Zay will connect back in. What's going on, Bones?
Yo, what's up?
What's happening? What you think about that intro?
Yo, it's fire. I love it.
See, you got your name. See, y'all got your names in the overlay now and everything.
Yeah, one point. Shout out to Venkat for the intro.
Yeah, man, Venkat. Tell you, man, Venkat be on some shit, man. Venkat called me. He was like, "Hey, I'm working on this intro. What time is the show tomorrow?" And he sent me a message like, I want to say like midnight, talking about, "Hey, I just sent you the intro on WhatsApp." And I checked it out, and I'm like, okay, yeah, Brian. I don't know if you want to jump on the panel. Let me drop the link. Drop the link in the chat if you want to hop up on the panel with us and discuss this. What's up, Zay?
Yo, what's good? What's good? That intro was fire.
Yeah, I was about to ask you to think about that intro. Yeah, man, Venkat. I don't know how he does it, man, but every day he always doing something different. So real quick, if you guys didn't get a chance to check out that basketball show that me and Venkat did yesterday, that was a really good conversation. That should have been all of 30 minutes, but it ended up being 2 hours. Commissioner Soleimani jumped on, and him and Venkat got into an argument about basketball. And I just had to end the show, though, because we had something else coming up. But we'll be doing more of that. I'm still on schedule to do the Dolphin show tomorrow, but I don't know, because after this show, I got another show scheduled because the debaters are going crazy, calling me out and talking crap. So I'm going to do a stream tonight dedicated for them so they can come over here and get all the smoke that they think they want so much. So that's where we are with that. That'll be at 7. So real quick, UFC 286. Give me your quick thoughts.
It was an amazing card. I love it.
Yeah, overall, it was pretty good.
A lot of the prelims delivered, even the early prelims delivered. And yeah, overall, I enjoyed the whole card.
Seemed like a bunch of decisions.
Overall, it was pretty good. A lot of well contested fights. I gotta tip my hat to the matchmakers, because there was a couple fighters on there making their debuts. They had a couple undefeated fighters matched up against each other, and just the way a lot of them played out, it was like a lot of evenly matched fighters showcasing their skills. I will say this, though, I'm pretty sure my picks didn't go too good, but that's the thing about fights. You never know what's gonna happen in the fight.
So let's talk about that real quick. Our picks were destroyed.
Yes, sir.
So tell me about that.
Well, like I say, in a fight, it's unpredictable. You never know what's gonna happen. Very first fight of the night on the early prelims, that ruined everything.
Yeah, that ruined the ticket.
Yeah, I tried to win a little bit of money, but it didn't go my way.
All right, so yeah, that's why they call it gambling, though.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no surefire.
I mean, it just added a little bit of fun to it. That's pretty much it.
So, all right. So, what fights are we gonna do? I mean, I had the results for all of them, but are we gonna go over early prelims also?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to.
All right. Let me grab my note sheet. So in the early prelims, okay, so the first fight was Veronica Hardy, right?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I know how to read this. Okay, so it's bottom up. All right, so in the first early prelim, we had. Oh, first of all, I like to say this: the show came from the O2 Arena in London, England. So that's why it started at 5:00. At least the main card. So I always like to say that. I don't know what the gate was or anything. I couldn't find that info. But in our
they said it last night. It was like I think he said like 8 million or something like that.
That's pretty good for overseas.
Yeah.
All right. So first fight, we have Veronica Hardy defeated Juliana Miller via unanimous decision. And I want to say, okay, you guys didn't pick in that fight.
No, but if I would have picked Juliana Killer Miller. She's an Ultimate Fighter season 30 winner, and I thought that she was going to destroy Veronica Hardy. Honestly, I thought that she was going to submit her probably in the first round. But Veronica Hardy, she took like a 3-year layoff, and she came off with concussions and everything like that, so she wasn't expected to do much. But she caught her with a nasty head kick in the third round. That sounded like a whooping, like somebody cracking a whip or something like that. It was pretty nasty. And but she took it though. Juliana Miller, she took it, and she didn't get finished. It was a decision, but yeah, it was a good fight.
And Juliana Miller had a huge lump on her forehead, a big hematoma. And you know who Veronica Hardy is? That's Dan Hardy's wife. You know who Dan Hardy is, right?
I know that.
Red Mohawk.
I know that.
Yeah,
okay, yeah, him. Okay, yeah.
That's his wife, and apparently she's been training with him the whole time. She's been out for them 3 years. It looked like it paid off. Striking was on point, crisp. She had a lot of movement. Juliana Miller looked kind of weird on the feet. Every time she tried to take her down, she ended up on the bottom. She almost caught her with an armbar like twice, but Miller was like she saw everything coming and just destroyed her, ground and pound on the feet. And the last probably I say 20 seconds, like he said, Miller got caught with a mean head kick, and she just walked forward straight through it. But I felt like that should have dropped her at least. She didn't even stumble.
Yeah, that shows right there that she got a 10 because that would have put away most people, or at least dropped most people.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so that fight ended in unanimous decision. So our next bout, we had Jay Herbert versus Ludovic Klein. That was a majority draw.
Yeah, that fight was a majority draw. That was a very evenly contested matchup, but Jai Herbert, I feel like would have gotten the win, but he got a point deducted. He threw 2 groin strikes within 30 seconds. So they deducted a point from him, and I feel like that's what made it a draw. Jai Herbert was the hometown hero. He's coming off of a win, but he got quite a few losses in a row. But I feel like he's always fighting competition that's levels above him. So last night they matched him up pretty evenly. It was a good, even matchup. They mostly kept it on the feet, striking back and forth. Both guys seemed like they were real fast. And I feel like Ludovic Klein came out trying to stick to a game plan. He had like a right jab, left kick thing going on, and then he got popped a couple times, and the game plan went out the window, and they just went at it. Good little scrap.
For me, I'm a Jai Herbert fan because he's a younger fighter, but the problem is, I feel like his manager, he need a new manager because he's always fighting upper competition. You know what I mean? Like his last fight, he fought Ilya Sapporo, which was a terrible matchup for him. But basically, in this fight, he came out, he was looking pretty good, throwing his kicks and everything like that. And Klein took him down, and he busted him open with an elbow from the ground. or I believe it was an up kick. He cut him with an up kick, and
Yeah, it
it
was
cut
up
him.
kick.
Yeah, and it cut him. So Kwame had a nasty cut. So that kind of leveled the playing field a little bit because he was pretty bloody. And yeah, the two groin strikes in 30 seconds. That's what hurt him because it took a point away, and ended up being the draw. So if he wouldn't have had that, he would have won probably by split decision or majority decision. So he hurt himself on that one.
And keep in mind, John Herbert also trains at the same gym as the guy in the main event, Leon Edwards.
So this is a fight that you guys did pick. So in a flyweight competition, Joanne Wood, who Zay picked, defeated Luana Carolina that Bones picked via split decision.
Yeah, for this one,
Um,
I picked what my head over my heart because I thought that I wanted Joanne Wood to win because she was on a 3-fight losing streak. Two of them she lost by submission. So I felt like if she would have lost this fight, they would have cut her. But this was for the most part they were keeping it striking, and they gave her I think a good matchup because Carolina she's a striker also, and that's Joanne's strength. So it was a pretty good fight, and she caught her with an elbow, and her eye was pretty messed up, pretty swollen. But yeah, thankfully Joanne Wood won the fight.
yeah, that was another matchup that was way more evenly contested than I assumed it would be prior to it. Joanne Wood came out, won the first round, sticking and moving. Carolina, she kept getting her in the Muay Thai clinch, and every time they would break, that's when Joanne Wood would throw that elbow, and she messed her eye up pretty bad. The second round, Joanne Wood looked like she lost a little bit of stamina. Carolina came back in the fight, and so it was all up to the third round. And in the third round, she just turned it up and poured it on. Like you could tell, she was fighting for a job. Overall, it was a good victory, but I also feel as though even though she won, I feel like she's on the decline as far as her skills go because I didn't expect that fight to be as tough as it was.
Yeah, I agree.
Like if she if she fought someone in the top 15, she probably wouldn't succeed.
At this point, she's a gatekeeper, basically.
Yeah, and at one point she was the number one contender.
She shouldn't have took that fight.
So she's basically like a jobber then.
Nah,
I wouldn't say a jobber.
jobber.
A gatekeeper is in like, okay, so you're gonna be the person to test people to see, okay, if they can beat you, then they're probably going to be a real talent.
A gatekeeper will win 2 out of 3 fights. You know what I'm saying? 2 out of 4 fights. A jobber ain't going, win at all.
It's just like you get a new guy, they'll put you in the ring with Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah,
right.
If Shelton Benjamin can't get a good match out of you, then nobody can. All right. So we finally got a finish here. In our next bout, we got Jake Hadley defeated Malcolm Gordon via first round TKO in 1 minute and 1 second.
All I could say is, ooh wee.
Nasty.
How did he finish
body kick. It was a nasty hook to the body.
With a hook/uppercut to the body. Malcolm Gordon came rushing in, and he caught him with a jab hook to the body, and you saw him drop his hands a little bit. And probably like 5 seconds later, he came rushing in again, and that time he feinted the jab to make him bring his hands up and placed the hook right to the solar plexus, and he just fell face first, holding his ribs, and then. Jake Hadley went and played drums on his head for a bit. He was Donkey Konging him with hammer fists. The referee stopped the fight. Jake Hadley, that was his UFC debut. He also trains with Leon Edwards, another hometown hero, and he called out someone else who was on the card, Muhammad Makayev, because apparently at the Fighter Hotel they got into some issues, through a little scuffle or something like that.
So No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to go on record now. I think Jake Hadley is going to be a future contender. I'm not going to say a champion, but definitely a future contender, like top 10, top 5 kind of fighter in the next coming years. Um, the thing I like about him is he has so much composure because if you look at the fight, like when Bruce Buffer was introducing both fighters, you look at Malcolm Gordon, he was all like, antsy and going back and forth, had me mugging and everything like that, you know what I'm saying? And then you look at Jake Hadley, he's just calm and just, you know what I mean? Just had a lot of composure or whatever. But that was one of the nastiest body shots I've seen in a while. Because even after the fight was over, Malcolm Gordon was still just laying on the ground like a good 10, 15 seconds after the fight was over. He couldn't even
He
move.
looked
He was
like he
just
had a
holding his body.
hangover.
He was just laying there for a minute. And even when they
In the
introduced
fetal
like the winner or
position.
whatever, even when they introduced the winner, he was still laying on the ground. Like he wasn't even in the camera view or whatever. He was just out of focus because he was done.
I say he probably broke a rib.
Yeah.
So when
And
when
then my bad.
no,
Go ahead.
go ahead, because I want to ask you, when fighters call fighters out, does that fight normally get made, or Dana just takes it into consideration?
It depends on who they calling out and where they at. And a lot of times, if you got two people on the rise, they try to let them avoid each other for a minute until their names get a little bit bigger. But if a fighter calls a fighter out and the other fighter says, "Yeah, what's up?" 9 times out of 10, they're gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But I don't think they're gonna give him Muhammad Makayev next, just because
Nah,
Makayev is an undefeated fighter too, and he's probably like a
you can't
higher
do that yet.
prospect right now. And he's coming up in the ranks as opposed to somebody making their debut. They're not gonna
You
kill
see,
They're not gonna kill one of the fighters.
yeah, I want to keep them as far away from each other as possible and keep building them up. Keep giving them both like lower ranked people, or whatever, and then progressively build them up. And then when they do fight each other, it could be either a co-main event for a pay-per-view card or a headline fight night card.
Okay. All right. Our next bout, Christian Leroy Duncan defeated Dusko Todorovic via first round TKO injury at 1 minute and 52 seconds.
COD.
CLD, yeah, that was his UFC debut as well. Another hometown hero. If you notice, a lot of times when they're in a certain place, they try to put a lot of hometown fighters on their card. So, but yeah, that fight didn't last too long. But based off of what I saw, that was my first time ever seeing CLD. And based off of what I saw, with his movement and his awkward stance, and he threw a lot of tricky strikes, I feel like he has potential. I would have liked to see more of him, but Todorovic had his knee popped out of place when they was grappling.
Nasty.
CLD had him in a body lock, and as he tried to take him down, his knee just popped, and so the fight was over.
Yeah, I think CLD he got a lot of potential. I like his movement. He's very fluid. He's not really stiff. You know what I'm saying? But I would like to see more from him too. I'm looking forward to his next fight. Hopefully he can fight soon because he ain't take no damage. So
All right. So I'm assuming this fight was added because it's not on my original sheet. And you have LaRon Murphy defeating Gabriel Santos via split decision. That fight isn't on my original sheet.
I think it's because somebody pulled out and one of those guys stepped in. I think it was a different fight, and somebody pulled out, if I'm not mistaken. But that fight also, two undefeated guys going at each other. LaRon Murphy called himself the Miracle. He got shot in the face and the neck, and survived and turned out to be a high prospect in MMA and the UFC at that. Very, very well contested fight. You said it was a split, right? A split decision.
Split decision. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, in my opinion, I don't know how the judges had it, but in my opinion, I felt like LaRon Murphy won the first round, and the other guy, I can't remember his name, won the second round, and then Murphy won the third round. It was pretty back and forth. Both guys were actually using mixed martial arts. They looked like they were well rounded. You had some striking, you had some grappling. Lerone Murphy kept catching him with uppercuts, and the other dude, I don't know, he was kind of shifty. And he showed he had heart because after the first round, it's like you would expect the rest of the fight to go like that, but he came back. And then the third round was really even, but I feel like Lerone Murphy turned up a little bit. I was one of those fights where at the end you didn't know what the judges were going to say.
So
yeah, that fight, if they would have gave it to Santos, I wouldn't have said it was a robbery, but I did score it for Murphy. I gave him also rounds 1 and 3. It's just two undefeated fighters, and I don't know. I just felt like I'd rather see them kind of matched up elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't want to see them fight each other like that. But overall, it was
I
a
like
good
when
fight.
they do that
Yeah, and
because it's like, and you can tell nobody wanted to lose their own.
Yeah, I know somebody else had to go there, but I'm interested to see where both fighters going to go from here.
So as I go to my next sheet, I realized what happened. That fight with Murphy and Santos was originally on the prelim card, but I guess once the other fight got canceled or whatever, they moved it to the early prelim.
Oh, okay,
so
I got you.
Because I see it's on my prelim sheet, and I'm hoping they didn't lose pay for that. Like, you were on the regular prelims, now you get dropped down to the early prelims.
Oh no, everybody gets show money and win money. Like where you fight don't really change nothing, and that's just the main event pay-per-view.
Okay, so before we go on to the prelim card, we have a fight coming up. Your friend. Let me know about that. You guys are supposed to get me the pictures.
Yeah, I got you. He said he got a screenshot. He don't got no actual flyer, so he said he got a screenshot. He got a screenshot. But yeah, it's at Gulfstream Park. April 29th. Probably gonna grab my tickets today, just to make sure we could be in the building because I believe seats are limited. But he said he looking forward to coming on.
So April 29th, Gulfstream Park. And what's his record?
I'm not even sure, to be honest with you.
As an amateur, I believe you are 4-0, I believe.
Go ahead.
No, I think you 4-0, I believe.
Okay.
I know you.
I know he had a couple of Muay Thai fights in Thailand too. I know he didn't lose any of those.
All right. So onto the preliminary card. Oh well, no. One thing before I want to get there. So I heard Bones say that he scored it. He scored the last fight a certain way. Tell me how this scoring system goes, because I'm looking, because I have the scorers in front of me. So what I'm looking at these numbers, and I'll see. So one judge had it 30-27, one had it 28-29, another had it 29-28. How are these scores determined? What's the scoring system?
Basically, a round is determined on the effective grappling, striking, and octagon control, and the winner gets 10 points.
They changed it. They scored damage over everything now. Damage, effect. I guess that's the effect of striking, but they changed the verbiage a little bit to damage, which is kind of confusing because I could land more shots than you, and you hit me with one big power shot and cut me open. It's like, is that more damage? So it's kind of confusing. Which I believe that
everybody cut up different and everybody swell up different. Like if you're a Diaz brother, you finna get cut quick. You know what I mean? So,
so it's like I feel like that's part of the reason why the scoring system is kind of broken in MMA. But the winner is just like boxing. The winner gets 10 points, the loser get 9. And then in order to get a 10-8, you gotta have damage and duration, meaning dominating most of the fight and probably like getting close to a finish. But I feel like they should be more. They should have more 10-8 rounds than they do.
All right. So in our first fight on the prelim card, we have Muhammad Makayev Makayev defeating Rafael Filo via submission, rear naked choke in the third round, 4 minutes and 52 seconds. Both of you guys both picked Muhammad.
Hey, this fight was crazy. And once again, you had two undefeated fighters, but Mikhailov is the more touted prospect or whatever. But basically, uh, man, he got caught in the leg bar, like a knee bar, that was even painful for me to watch. And you actually seen his knee pop, and I can promise you, you're not gonna see him fight for another at least a year and a half, because he definitely tore an ACL or MCL or something.
Oh, so
So
he suffered like ligament damage.
yeah, he couldn't
It
even
looked
he
like
could barely walk after the fight. Like, it was nasty. But with that being said, he did not tap, and he ended up getting the guy in a submission and finished the fight within like the next minute. So yeah,
Yeah,
it was crazy.
the commentators were screaming, "Oh my God, he need to tap!" Oh my, like he thought his knee was finna snap. Like the knee don't bend that way, but his was bending that way. And everybody like, "Oh, let's go snap, let's go snap." He need to tap, he need to tap. He refused to tap. I guess he really wanted to hang on to that. Oh, and then they're both wrestlers too. So when he got out of the submission, it's like he did everything in his power to keep that fight on the ground. Because I don't think he could have stood. If they would have stood up and he took a leg kick, it probably would have been a wrap. But he managed to take dude back and catch him in a nasty neck crank as the time was running out, and that was it. And I feel like he won the first round, he lost the second round, and he was probably gonna lose that third round. But
Yep.
he pulled the rabbit out of the hat, and that just
And
showed a lot of heart and toughness.
he even said when he was being interviewed after the fight, he said he heard his knee cracking. He heard it cracking or whatever. He felt it cracking. So his knee definitely done.
So would you guys say that knees are the most common thing that goes out in fights? Because I'm always seeing all these leg injuries.
Probably knee or ankle. I mean, a broken hand is pretty common too. So
Yeah, because
They always breaking their hands.
yeah, I'm just looking at the injuries that I see, and there's always somebody's knee popping or maybe a shoulder, something like that, because the move set is so specific. Like if you're going for a knee bar,
Right.
are you going for you're trying to do a shoulder submission or something? You're trying to tear that damn shoulder out of the socket.
And Makayev, they say he came into it with knee and shoulder surgery, but I think he's 22 years old, undefeated right now, and he's fought 4 times in the last 12 months. But that's going to come to an end. He probably going to, like he said, need a surgery or something like that.
All right, so moving on to the next fight in the lightweight bout, we had Sam Patterson. We had Yanel Ashmov defeating Sam Patterson via first round KO in 1 minute and 15 seconds. So here we go. We finally got a knockout.
And all I can say is, oh my God, he's sitting into the shadow round. Patterson, a lightweight, 155, 6'3". His opponent, 5'9". Both of them making their UFC debut. I think Patterson had 1 loss. The other dude had like 1 or 2 losses. And
the other dude
Patterson
undefeated.
Oh, he was undefeated. Okay.
Yeah.
How you say it? Ashmoose, Ashmoose or something like that.
Ashmoose. Yeah, Israeli dude.
But so Patterson threw a kick, and Ashmoose caught the kick with his left hand and threw a right punch. The right punch missed, and he let go of the leg with his left hand, threw a left hook, and dropped him. And it was like timber because he was so tall. And so when he dropped him, he jumped on top of him and caught him with like a good 8 shots. The referee could have stopped it a little early. You see his head bouncing off the mat. He got cut up real bad. And the craziest part about it is you ever see a guy get knocked out and then they don't know what happened and they start trying to grapple the referee?
Mm-hmm.
So he was trying to grapple the referee for a good like 10 seconds, and then when the referee finally got him to stand up, they kept having to catch him because he was still falling. and then they had him up against the cage and were trying to sit him on the
on the
stool.
bench.
But yeah, even though he was standing, he was still trying to. He didn't know the fight was over until like a good minute and 30 seconds after. He was still trying to grapple the ref. His coach came over and was trying to tell him that it was done. It was like he didn't know what was going on.
6'3", 155. That's lanky.
Yeah, lanky and skinny and just looking like Slender Man.
And usually when people like that get knocked out and they fall kind of awkwardly or they fall hard, you know. But he was knocked out pretty nasty though. And
So,
honestly,
go ahead.
if I would have, even though we didn't pick this fight, if I would have had to pick, I would have picked him to win. He was a hometown person or whatever, and I just thought that he was going to stay at range and at least use his range and use his body kicks, leg kicks, stick to the jab or something. But it didn't go that way. So
You know what that frame reminds me of. And I want to say something about the referees too. Is like Stephen Struve. Remember, he was like 7 foot tall.
oh my goodness, bro!
And
yeah, he was in the
drives me
audience.
insane.
He was in the audience.
Does he still fight?
No, he retired.
Nah, he retired. Remember when Mark Hunt broke his jaw?
Man, he was too tall. Like,
but the thing that drove me crazy was he was tall for nothing because he couldn't use his length the way he should have.
He never used his length. Yeah, he was so awkward. Everything about him was just so awkward. And when he would fall, when you would hit him and he would get knocked out, he just crumble. It would just be more like
like an accordion.
Hey,
yeah.
I actually met him in person, and he even huger in person. He even more tall in person.
Jeez, bro, how you got a 7 foot MMA fighter, man? And I think he probably had about maybe 200. He was about 220. He couldn't have been that big because he had a lanky frame. But yeah, I remember watching him get knocked out, and he would just crumble, man. I'm like, good God. So okay, when do these referees ever been reprimanded? Because I've watched a lot of fights where a dude his clock is clearly, his lights is clearly turned out, and a fighter can get like 3 or 4, maybe 5 hammer fists in while this man is laying dead on the mat. Versus sometimes you'll see a guy still putting up a fight, but they'll call it due to strikes. So where does that line draw where you see a guy clearly knocked out versus a guy that might close to being getting knocked out, but he ain't there yet, and you call in the fight? So
the way I see it, that's one of the hardest jobs in the world because it's all up to your discretion. And if you stop it too early, you ruin the fight. But if you stop it too late, you could be ruining this person's life. Steve Mazzagatti and Yves Levine are no longer referees because they had a reputation of letting things go too long. I think Yves Levine is really just one fight that it was Matt Brown against Pete Sell, and he let that go way too long. Matt Brown kept looking at him like, damn, you're not going to stop it? Damn, you're going to make me hit this guy again?
Yeah.
You're going to make me hit this guy again? And then, so he's no longer reffing because of that. But if you look at fights like Chet Congo versus Pat Barry, it's like everybody thought the ref should have called that fight, and then Chet Congo came back and knocked Pat Barry out. So I mean, I guess you got to know the fighter, and I don't know, it's a tricky job. Like I wouldn't want that job.
Honestly,
I might let somebody die because I'll be looking like. Damn, he getting his ass. Oh shit! I'm supposed to stop it.
I remember that Chet Congo Pat Barry though. That was a slippery slope because I thought Chet Congo was dead, but for him
me too. I would have stopped it.
I even watched a fight with Clay Guida. I forget who he was fighting. I thought Clay Guida was fighting dead, and he still came back and won the fight. So, what the hell do I know? I mean. It's just I wonder though. I haven't seen Mazzagatti in a while. What about Big John? What's his name?
John McCarthy?
Oh,
yeah, he
retired.
He
coming here for Bellator.
So is Herb Dean still around?
Yeah, he's still there. He was refereeing last night.
Okay, yeah, big Herb.
And let me say this too. even though that was a late stoppage on the Patterson fight, I still say Mark Goddard is one of the best referees in the game.
Yeah, that wasn't egregious, and I wasn't like I'm not gonna fault him for it.
Yeah, that's not a common thing for him to let it go too long. But they all got those ones they wish they could change, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, so wait a minute, which one did I just do? I just did Yanal and Sam Raps. All right, so next we have Chris Duncan defeating Omar Morales via split decision. And yeah, you guys didn't pick this one either.
Yeah, I wasn't really too familiar with either fighter, but I will say that was an extremely evenly matched fight. And when it's fights like that, I don't mind the decision. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like it was very entertaining. I felt like that fight could have had like sometimes, even though you don't get fight of the night, Dana will look at a fight and be like, I'm gonna give these guys some extra money too, because I felt like that was one of those fights where I hope both of those guys get an envelope in the mail soon. Duncan, the way he won that fight, because I feel like he won the first round, his opponent won the second round, and then in the third round, they just kept tagging each other's legs, and in the third round, Morales kicked him in the leg, and he was like, oh, man, let me take this guy down. And the missus said something. She was like, oh, man, I think he's doing everything in his power not to stand up. And when she said it, it brought me back to the Muhammad Makayev fight, because it was the same situation. His calf was all swollen and red and purple. And so he took him down in the third round, had him down for like 3 minutes. Morales finally got back up. They went to striking again, and then he kicked him in the leg one more time, and he immediately shot for a takedown. So I feel like if it wasn't for him being well-rounded enough to resort to his grappling, then he very well could have lost that fight.
Basically, I ain't really got much more to say, but it was a good back and forth fight. They both showed a lot of heart, and I enjoyed it.
I can't hear you. Hey, we can't hear you, Trevor.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
Yeah, I had myself on mute. Do you feel the ref keeps the fighters' reputations in mind before stopping it?
I think they should.
Absolutely, man. Because you ain't gonna stop if somebody's thrashing John Jones. You're gonna let John Jones drop before you.
Or what about Darren and Damage Elkins? You know what I'm saying? He got a reputation for having heart and constantly going or whatever. So if the ref referencing his fight, he get a longer leash than most fighters would.
Just like a Diaz brother, like they could take an ass whooping, so you're not gonna stop it just because they're in trouble. You're gonna let them probably go out, but that could be to the fighter's detriment as well.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Like, how does that work with the women though?
Same thing. I would say the same thing.
Yeah, because you're not gonna let them women sit there and get polarized.
Shit.
Hey, they get the same thing.
Yeah. If you ever see Valentina Shevchenko versus Priscilla Cachoeira, she just got polarized. Shevchenko had her in full mount, dropping elbows. After elbow, her blonde hair was red, her face was red. And when they asked Steve Mazzagatti, why didn't he stop the fight? He said, I was letting her be a warrior.
so she could take a punch. Hey, what's up, Commissioner Angel in the building? Real quick, I want to pause real quick. Because me and Zay, me and you did a podcast over a year ago about trans fighters being allowed in MMA. And an interesting comment, somebody suggested that we do a debate on some type of trans debate. And I'm all on that. I'll be the bad guy. So do we still feel that trans fighters has absolutely no, well, I feel trans fighters has absolutely no business being in women's MMA.
I feel like if you're a trans
1,028%
fighter,
agree.
You
I feel
what?
like if you're a trans fighter,
No, I said I
he said he
1,000%
1,000.
agree with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like if you're a trans fighter, I'm not gonna tell you can't fight, but you should have your own division where you fight other trans fighters. But as far as you being a natural born man with testosterone running through your blood and fighting a woman, it's like that's
It's
that's
unfair.
that's not right. It's very
So
unfair.
you guys know my love affair for Amanda Nunes. She probably could beat up most dudes, but even her, there under no circumstance should she be able to fight, and she shouldn't be able to fight no trans fighter. It's ridiculous.
Nah, I agree.
I agree too.
All right, so Angel, if anybody want to take me on that, we good. I'll do it. All right, so our next is yeah, they know, man. Listen, wait till you hear this stream I got at 7 because they keep poking at the bear. So our next fight we got Jake Shore defeating Marquand. Oh God, Americani. Bones, you picked Jake Shore. Zay, you picked Marquand, and that fight was won via rear naked choke at 4 minutes and 27 seconds in the second round.
Hey, so I'm gonna say this. All right, Marquand Americani won the first round, was very confident, and Jack Shore went to the corner. His dad corners him. His dad told him, "Hey, we've been practicing head kicks for the past 6 weeks, and you ain't throw one yet. I need you to throw me some head kicks." Came out in the second round, landed 2 head kicks at Marquand Americani. Like, whole vibe started changing. He tried to get a takedown. He couldn't get it. And at that point, I felt like he gave up. So when they went to grappling and he got in the rear naked choke, honestly, I feel like he was looking for a way out. And because when Jack Shore slapped on the choke, he didn't try to fight the hands or nothing. He just he was looking for a way out, in my opinion.
Honestly, this fight was kind of hard for me to watch because I'm a big fan of Americani, but I feel like his better days are past him. And Jack Shore, like I said before on the previous show, if he's going to ever be a contender or go somewhere in the UFC, he had to win this fight, and he did. And not only did he win, but he was impressive in doing it too. And I thought that
And
if he won, he was going. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'll wait till you're done.
Yeah, I thought that if he won this fight, he was going to knock him out within like the first 2 rounds or whatever. I didn't see him catching them in a submission because Americani, his last 3 UFC victories came by submission. So I didn't see him submitting him. So I was impressed with that one.
Jack Shore showed some resilience too to bounce back after that first round. But what I was gonna say, so how would you match up Jack Shore in his next fight?
What weight class was that? Featherweight, right?
I don't have their weight class.
Yeah, featherweight.
I would give him probably somebody maybe like whoever the number 15 is, or somebody right outside top 15.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
So okay, because you guys, you've mentioned this a couple of times. I'm a big fan, and here I am. I'm gonna say something positive again about AEW. Well, you know what? AEW's been good for whatever I watch. So there you go. But they do the one thing that I wish WWE would do, and that's bring a top 10 list. So because I just feel like it just adds so much more of a sports element when you're like, hey, the champion should be obligated to fight somebody on that top 10 list. With that being said, UFC has a top 15 list.
They actually got a top whatever, but they only list the top 15. You got to go on the website to find 16 through 30 or whatever. But yeah, they employ over like 600-700 fighters. So
I didn't know
the list gets long. Yeah, the list gets very long. But yeah, they got a top 15 list. Like if you crack the top 15, then like you're doing something.
Yeah, top 15 in the UFC. Come on, man.
Yeah,
you basically top 15 in the world, basically.
Pretty much. But then Didn't I mean? So if I'm top 15 in the UFC, that means that it's only 14 other men in this world that's my weight that I can't go to their house and eat their dinner. That's how I look at it. So, but didn't NWA used to do that?
Yeah,
Top
NWA
10
did
list. They
that.
used to keep
Yeah, they had a
rankings.
top 10 list. Yeah, Ric
When they
Flair
do
was
that?
obligated. Ric Flair was obligated to face somebody on the top 10 list every month. And it really could have just been a bullshit list, but the fact that they had the top 10, that was the good thing.
Right. Just add another element to it.
Yeah, it just make it like, damn, I want, maybe if my guy can move up to 5, he'll be next in line for a world title match or something like that. So,
and it makes matches with no title have more meaning.
Have stakes. It's all about stakes. All right, so we're finally into the main. Oh, go ahead.
Hey, real quick, hey, bro.
Yo,
I just pulled up the top 15. Number 15 is Alex Bruce Lee Caceres, who don't got to fight.
Oh, that'd be
number
interesting.
14.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Look, number 14 is Edson Barbosa. He got to fight, and number 13 is Dan Ige. So I give him Alex Caceres, number 15.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want to see him fight Dan Ige.
No, he ain't ready for that. I ain't gonna say he ain't ready, but I don't want to see that either. All right,
let's get into the main. So now let's get into the main card now. So the fight of the night bonus was given to Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Faiz. We'll get to it. Performance of the night bonus went to Jake Hadley, and another performance of the night bonus went to Gunnar Nelson. So what I did notice in the main card, and this is what you guys know, I'm always criticize. He got 5 matches on the main card. 4 of them went to decision. So that means that those matches went either 15 minutes or 25 minutes in the championship round on a 16-fight card. That means this pay-per-view probably was like 5 hours long. I think it's too much.
I mean, you can feel that way. The early prelim started at 12:30, and the main card started at 5. I'm not really sure what time it was over, but
I think
almost 9 o'clock.
It was okay. It was over about like 8:45, 9 o'clock.
That's 7 hours.
Yeah,
that was the length of WrestleMania a year ago. 2 years ago.
It beats a day at work. Even though I'm not getting paid.
Man, bro, I can't. I get it, man, because when you look like we sit and watch football all day. So, yeah. I mean, so you're sitting there and you're like, damn, committing 7 hours a day to watching something. I get it, man.
I would even say this. If the fights were on a Sunday and the Steelers weren't playing, I would probably watch the fight. I would definitely watch the fights over football.
Over regular football, not the Steelers.
The Steelers, I would have a problem. It would be like, okay, like, is this a pay-per-view or is this something that like I can watch later? Or, like, it would be hard to choose. But yeah, I feel like my love for the MMA is like growing constantly, especially times like now, because there's no seasons. So it's like I don't really watch any other sports besides football and MMA. And so when football not on, it's like I still got MMA.
Yeah, I ain't nothing taking over the Dolphins for me.
Except for their opponents.
Oh, boy. I remember beating
tomorrow
Steelers.
7, right?
Yeah,
you did. Y'all did that.
Sometime tomorrow, man. I think I got it scheduled for like 5 or 7. I gotta go look. I got so many damn shows coming up. All right. So on the main card, Marvin Vettori defeated Roman Dolidze. Via unanimous decision, and both of you guys picked Roman. You guys picked the wrong Roman. Should have been Roman Reigns.
Yeah, obviously we see that now. Oh boy, that fight right there could have won fight of the night as well. Up until that point, I thought this is the fight of the night so far. But I mean, we all knew Gaethje and Fizzy was gonna get it. We said that in the previous show. But yeah, that was a good fight, man. Marvin came out. Obviously he changed up his game a little bit, and he said it afterwards that he'd been working on his kicks because he's usually just a puncher or a grappler. He didn't attempt not one takedown, so it's like even though he added something, it's like he lost something out of his repertoire. I would like to see. I think he's gonna be a real problem once he can blend it all together, like striking as far as kicks and punches and the grappling. But Delize had him up against the cage, dropping bombs on him in the first round, and then Marvin came back, and Marvin, I say, probably landed more shots, but Delize landed the more powerful shots. That was a really close contested fight, and that was another fight where I felt like I scored the first round for Delize. The second and third round, I didn't know who the hell won. So that was one of those fights where I wasn't gonna argue with a decision either way.
I
And
picked
let me
Roman
say this
because
too: Vittori seems like he's unfinishable because
yeah,
some of that shit he was getting hit with. My God.
yeah, Vittori was getting hit with some bombs, and he stayed up. Um, he basically went to Thailand and he switched up his game, and he's throwing a lot of kicks now. And honestly, because I thought that Roman would be the more versatile fighter, that's why I picked him to win. Because I figured that Vittori would just be basically just boxing, but when he throw his kicks in and kind of switch it up a little bit. So, but I think that because he won this fight, I think he should fight Jarrett Cannonier next. That's
That
what I'll
would be a
pick as
good
next
matchup
opponent.
for him. That would be
Yeah,
a good matchup for him. And let me say this too: Delize won his last 4 fights by knockout. So I mean, he he got it in. He got some power. So for Marvin to take those shots, I was pretty impressed. What would you say Delize goes from here?
Sean Strickland.
See, I would give him more like a it just slipped my mind. I would give him like a Dricus Duplessis.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the rankings right now. Roman is ranked number 9. This was yesterday. I think this is. I don't know if it's updated or not. But
Yeah,
Roman
they
is ranked number
updated on
9.
Tuesday.
Okay, and Derek Brunson number 8, and Duplessis is number 6. So that'll work.
And what was Marvin like 4?
Marvin is ranked number 4. Yeah.
And Cannonier is 3.
Yep. So you got 4 versus
That's
3.
off the
That'll
top
work.
of the head. I'm pretty good.
All right, moving on to the next one. Jennifer Maya defeated Casey O'Neill via unanimous decision, and both of you guys picked Casey O'Neill.
You can go first, bro.
Yeah, I picked Casey O'Neill. Even though I believe she had like a 2-year layoff, I believe it was, going off knee surgery. But because she's more of the up and comer, like hungry prospect, and she real nasty in the cage too. So I just figured that she'll win. And Jennifer Maya, um, I seen her as just a ground fighter, like just a basic, boring jiu-jitsu ground fighter, basically. But when the fight started, from the get-go, she came out with some boxing, had footwork, she was moving her head, had good foot movement and everything like that, and she was just piecing it out for 3 rounds. And the only thing the fight went to the ground once, I don't think, but she basically just stood in the pocket and just banged with it for 3 rounds and dominated. I didn't see that coming at all.
I would say that by far, this was the most impressive performance that I've ever seen from Jennifer Maya. I was extremely impressed. Like he said, she's a grappler, a wrestler, and she didn't shoot not one takedown. Her footwork was amazing. She was looking like a little female Dominic Cruz, and she was just sticking and moving, sticking and moving. Casey O'Neill was throwing power shots, but she was throwing 1, maybe 2 punches at a time. And Jennifer Maya was like moving her head off the center line, and she was throwing combos. So it's like, and she was tagging her with damn near everything she threw. So I was extremely impressed. That was probably the easiest fight the judges had to score because it was one-sided all the way through.
Let me ask y'all. How do y'all think Gina Carano would fare with this breed of MMA fighter now, woman?
Not good.
Probably, yeah, not so good. I feel like most of the fighters, even some Hall of Famers, you got like Matt Hughes and whatnot. I feel like the game has evolved so much, so it's like just the athletes are better. Those guys were wrestlers who like came to MMA, or kickboxers who came to MMA. Whereas now that it's more popular, you got kids training MMA from like a
Yeah.
young age. So they're very well rounded.
So you got like your Uriah Favors and all those. That's why I'm shocked that cowboy what the hell is his name?
Donald Cerrone.
Yeah,
Cerrone.
Cerrone lasted so long because he came from that WEC with Uriah Faber and Matt Brown
Right.
and all them guys. Um,
Absolutely.
what it was this Spanish guy, man, that you just could not finish him. Jeez, I forget his name.
Jose
Miguel
Aldo.
Torres.
It could have been Aldo, but no, because this guy had long hair. So I don't know if Aldo ever had hair. But this is back from the WEC day. I'm telling you, I used to watch this like tough. So it could have been from back then, but I'm just thinking of all these old fighters, and I'm watching these women now, and these women, they bang. Like, I'm like, damn, Gina
Yeah, they
Carano.
do.
I'm like, I don't think she would have been able, because I remember she fought Cyborg, and I start feeling sorry for her.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. But I don't know. It was a couple guys I used to feel like Leonard Garcia was unfinishable unless you subbed him or choked him out.
Miguel Torres was a beast too.
Yeah. When you say Miguel Torres, I think of Shorty Torres, so I can't really picture him.
All right, so our next fight, Gunnar Nelson. All right. Gunnar Nelson defeated Brian Barberena. Hey, hold on 1 second. Hey, mute the mic. Still trying to get over this cold, man. Gunnar Nelson defeated Brian Barberena via submission armbar, 451 in the first round. Zay, you picked Gunnar Nelson, and Bones, you picked Brian Barberena.
Yeah, I was picking with my heart on that one because I'm a big Brian Barberena fan. But I said in the previous show that Barberena last fight was against not Jose Aldo, but Dos Anjos, and he didn't do so good because his weakness is the clinch and the ground game. And Garner Nelson, that's his strength, the ground game. So with that being said, Garner Nelson submitted him within, I believe, the first round, and it was just that simple, basically.
But look at that,
And
451 in the first round. So if he would have
Yeah,
been able to hold out
he did.
for 9 seconds.
He did survive a long time, but he was getting basically controlled the whole time, though. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like they was standing up. He was in the clinch or on the ground for most of that first round anyway.
And with that, it wasn't no holding on for 9 seconds because that was a situation where either you tap or he taking his arm home because
You gonna break your arm.
he had him in a real deep arm bar. But the way he set it up, like you can truly see the art behind it because he had him in full mount. He kind of like leaned his hips over to the left side a little bit and threw some punches to make Barberena like put his arms up, and you saw him like he was about to jump for the arm bar, but he was like, nah, not yet. And then he threw some more punches, and then as soon as he put his arms up to try to defend, he isolated that one arm and just switched over real quick and pulled it back. And Barberena tried to clench his arms together so he couldn't pull it back, but he had too much leverage, and once he pulled it back, he had to tap.
And them 9 seconds, I mean, like I'm saying, oh, it's 9 seconds, but them 9 seconds could be an eternity, man.
Yeah, and it's different. It's different when it's a joint attack because if it's like a choke or something, then yeah, you try to hang in there. But if it's like your joints, like your knee or elbow or something like that, you might as well go ahead.
If it's a choke, I'd rather just go to sleep. But if it's an armbar or something like that, I'd definitely tap because I ain't trying to get my arm broken.
And
so hold on, you think it's more honor in just passing out versus just saying I quit?
Yeah, definitely. As a former jiu-jitsu
See,
person, definitely.
and something that I learned, Charles Sonnen, he was saying that he hate when guys feel like it's more honor in passing out because he said whenever you go out, they give you a suspension. So that means you can't even train for a while. And if you can't train, you can't sign for a fight, so you can't work. So he was like, but in a situation like that where it's 9 seconds, and I feel like the bell might save me. Like if I have that potential, then I would probably like just thug it out and see if I can
Yeah.
last 9 seconds.
But do
But if
they
it's like,
don't know. They don't know it's 9 seconds though.
I mean, if you're aware enough to hear the clappers, at 10 seconds they do the
Yeah, they do
clappers.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you heard that and then Buddy sink a choke in, it's like, all right, I gotta wait for these 9 seconds and see what happens. But I'm not in there either, so
Nah, man. Hey, that's why, man. Shouts out to these fighters, man. Like we here talking about it, you
right.
know. But them jokers, they doing the damn thing. I mean, because me getting into a street fight for like 2 or 3 minutes ain't nothing with trying to do a 25-minute championship fight. So I
But
get it.
hey, shout out to Bones because I remember as kids doing wrestling moves to each other. Like he was a lot smaller than me, and I'll put him in the sub, and I'll be like, "Just give up, and I'll let you go." And he would refuse. He's like, "Damn, you gonna make me hurt him for real." And then when he was doing jujitsu, they used to always say like, "Damn, Bones, like you damn near snoring. You about to go out. You're not gonna tap." And it's like,
Yeah, man, just
Man.
put me to sleep.
All right. So in the co-main, which also won fight of the night. So you guys said that both you guys picked Justin Gaethje,
Gaethje.
but Bones, you said that it would end in a TKO, and Zay, you said that it would end in a TKO in the third round. So in the co-main, Justin Gaethje defeated Rafael Faez via majority decision, so it went the distance.
and after that fight, you know what we were all saying? I wish it was 2 more rounds. I wish it was 2 more rounds. I wish it
Yeah.
was like I should have been 5 rounds. But shout out to Justin Gaethje. That was his 11th UFC fight and his 11th performance bonus. So that means every time he step in that octagon, he getting the bonus, whether it's knockout of the
Extra
night
50.
or fight of the night.
Wow.
And oh man, like if Justin Gaethje was fighting and the Steelers were playing, I'm gonna watch that Gaethje fight because he gonna deliver every time. So as far as Gaethje came out and Fiziev was like extremely strong, extremely fast. Gaethje was trying to like fight like a civil person and use technique. And I had to stand up to talk about this fight. um, but they was tagging each other back and forth. Fiziev definitely won that first round. He had Gaethje hurt like twice. Second round, Gaethje came out and he turned it into more of a brawl. He swole up his eye with an eye poke on the right side. Then he caught him with a hook that put a cut on the left eye. And then the third round, he caught him with another hook and an uppercut, and that put a bigger cut. A second cut on the right side. And then he just kept jabbing him and jabbing him and jabbing him. And it was a couple of little slow-mo previews where you would see Gaethje hit him with an uppercut, and you see like bloody spit flying out of his mouth. And there was another one where he caught him with like he had like a glob of snot, a slob hanging from his mouth. And when Gaethje uppercutted him, that went boomeranging through the octagon. And Gaethje won the fight 2 rounds to 1. But I saw one of the judges had Gaethje losing the fight. It was no way that should have been a split decision. But man, that was a hell of a war. If you see Fiziev's face after that fight, it's like he don't look like the same person at all.
Hey, in the preview show, me and my brother both said that we feel like Gaethje is going to drag Fiziev into deep waters where he's never been before. and that's basically what he did because he's a great fighter, but man, like Gaethje, he's a warrior, and he literally got death before dishonor tattooed on him. You know what I mean? And that's how he fights. Like he just it was an amazing fight, and like my brother said that he got Fiziev had 3 cuts on him, and that messed him up pretty bad. And I never seen him get so messed up. I never seen him even get cut that bad before, and it was
And
just a great fight.
after the fight, Gaethje said, "I literally tried everything in my power not to fight like that, but it happened." And he's one of
Yeah,
those fighters that I worry about him when he get old. Like, how is
Mm.
his faculties going to be? Because he bring wars every time. But ironically, this is the first fight I saw him where like his face wasn't messed up. So,
also,
and I want to ask, go ahead.
this is his first fight where he had a takedown in UFC.
Oh yeah. He's a wrestler, but he only shot one takedown in his 10 fights. This fight, he shot 3 and got his first one in the UFC because he just stand and bang. But Bones, I wanted to ask you, what's next for Fiziev and what's next for Gaethje?
Hey, I was going to ask that question.
I will give Fiziev Mataz Gamrot probably.
Okay.
Because he ranked because Fiziev number 6, Gamrot number 7, and for Gaethje, I might just give him a title shot against Makachev to be honest. Because
So,
it's either him, Poirier, or I don't think Oliveira and Darius should get it. So
well, what they're saying is apparently the winner of Oliveira and Dariush gonna get it, especially if it's Dariush. I watched the post-fight press conference, and Gaethje was saying that he would want to fight the winner of that fight, but he don't want to because I guess him and Dariush are real good friends, so he want him to win, but he don't want to fight him. And then he said he's very willing to take a Poirier rematch because Poirier not matched up with nobody right now. And Bones, I know you know Poirier is my favorite fighter overall, hands down. That first fight they had was fight of the year. Um, if they fight again, I'm all in on that one.
yeah, so I think they should do Poirier versus Gaethje too, and the winner of that. Um, I don't know. I mean, because you already said Darius and Oliveira gonna get a title shot, so I don't know.
See that, and that's one of those divisions that is starting to get log jam
Yeah,
because you're starting to have a couple of people that got viable claims to a title shot, but at the same time, Ramadan coming up, and you know the champion not gonna fight during Ramadan, and it's bad enough he just defended his title against somebody
against the
that's not even in the
featherweight.
division. Yeah, so I
Yep.
mean that could have been a title shot right there for somebody who like in the division.
Yeah, I agree.
Look at that comment on the screen. Can you guys see it?
The 40 minute of commentary, all biased. Nah, I don't
Um,
think it was biased. To be honest, like, he was just saying how much he loved the London fans and how he loved whatever. But I don't think it was biased.
no, I didn't. I would have to watch it again, but I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that. I didn't feel like it was biased. But Gaethje did mention that he said he
Yeah, I
felt
heard.
that the commentary was biased and he felt that the judges were biased, which I can kind of see it with the judges. And we'll get into that because I already said Gaethje won 2 rounds to 1, and one judge scored it for Shaziv. But we'll get into the judges again after the main event.
All right. So we're gonna pause right here real quick. So what's the next before we get into the main event? What's the next UFC coming up?
This
Well,
Saturday,
they got a fight this Saturday. Sanhagen versus Marlon Vera,
Marlon
and
Cheeto
that's
Vera.
for the bantamweight fight, which I feel like bantamweight is another division that's extremely clogged up. There's so many people that need a title shot, but it's just they're holding it up right now because Cejudo want to come back and get a title shot. But the next pay-per-view is April 8th in Miami,
Okay, I was
and I
about to say
can't.
That's what I say. We can't we can't do that one because that one's that's my wife and daughter's birthday weekend next weekend.
B-Days, yeah.
Yeah, definitely can't do that one. But yeah, I could do the April 8th. Damn, it seems like
I don't know.
they got one every week.
Yeah, pretty much. They're gonna take off WrestleMania weekend because they don't want to compete. But I'm going to the one on April 8th, so I don't know what kind of condition I'm gonna be in the following Sunday.
Well, I mean, we still got to review it though, because we gotta know
absolutely.
We gotta know what the live experience is like.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right,
I'm gonna be hyped to do that show.
So up next we have the main event. Leon Edwards was the champion. Champion Leon Edwards defeated challenger Kamaru Usman via majority decision. So this one went the full 5. And this was the third. This was the third fight in the trilogy.
Right. Me personally, I felt like Leon Edwards won the first round. I felt like
one second. Before you say that, I got to give you picks. So Zay did pick Zay picked Usman, and then Bones later in the week, like before the fight, sent me a message and said he wanted to change his pick to Edwards, but you had Edwards from the beginning, so I don't think you knew that. But yeah, so Bones picked Edwards.
Okay, so I felt like Usman won the first round. No, I felt like Edwards won the first round. Usman won the second round. The third round, Leon Edwards grabbed the fence, which clearly prevented him from being taken down. It was so blatant, and he did it like back to back to back. So the referee took a point, and I felt like Usman won that round, which should have made it a 9-8. I mean, a 10-8 round, because you lost the point and you lost the round. That fourth round could have been up for grabs, and Usman definitely lost the fifth round. That being said, the way I scored the fight, I thought it should have been a draw. But one of those judges gave, and it sucks that, like, I'm not even talking about the fight, I'm talking about the judges, but one of the judges gave Leon the first, second, and third round. First, second, third, and fifth. There was 2 judges that said Kamaru only won 1 round. And I thought that was crazy. But the fight was pretty good. Leon Edwards definitely improved his takedown defense. Kamaru Usman, every time he tried to take him down, Leon Edwards would do a 2-on-1, which is like 2 hands on one hand to try to grab his wrist and prevent Usman from locking his hands. Because he is saying once you lock his hands, he pretty much gonna get you down. So every time he got pushed up against the cage, I say Usman probably took him down 4 times, and he probably attempted like 15, 20 of them. And on the feet, Leon is just a better striker. They both connected with some clean shots. Usman, I felt like his head wasn't in the game at first because he was complaining about everything. There was a point where Usman had him up against the cage, and Leon Edwards put his fingers inside of his gloves around the wrist in order to spin him around and get off the cage and break free. And
is that legal?
He complained about it. No, you can't put your hands in the glove. And the referee did see it. He gave him a hard warning. It was a couple of shots. One of them definitely was low, but it was like 1 or 2 more that wasn't really low, and Usman was complaining about it. Like, I felt like he was crying too much, and his head wasn't really in the game. But overall, it was definitely a close matchup. It was pretty good. And, shout out to Leon Edwards, man. He did that.
I scored rounds 1, 4, and 5 for Leon Edwards. I thought Kamaru won rounds 2 and 3. Round 3 was when they took the point away, so that would have made it a 10-8 round. And also that would have, and my scorecards made it a draw, which would have been terrible because they would have probably fought again, which I wouldn't want to see for a 4th time.
Not me either.
But overall, I felt like it was good. Usman, I feel like he needed to have his head in the game more because he was complaining a little bit too much. Like, all right, I understand Leon did get one low shot, then he got another low shot, but the second low shot, it wasn't really like, it was kind of like, debatable. You know what I mean? And he was just kind of complaining too much. He would look to the referee and throw his hands up, stuff like that. And in my opinion, you need to be more focused on the guy trying to punch you in the face than trying to complain so much. You know what I mean? Um, And in the fifth round, I was surprised because Usman, he's known for having a lot of composure, and I felt like he kind of got out of his game plan a little bit. He just kept kind of leaning in, lunging in for takedowns, and he would just get him up against the fence and just hold him there. And you know what I mean? He would try to take him down, but clearly he wasn't getting it. And he was just basically using up all his energy, and that's not Usman like basically. And
And I feel like,
so.
but
Yeah, so that basically lost him the fifth round, and that round, if he would have won the fifth round, he could have won the fight. So I don't know.
well, if he would have won the fifth round, he could have won the fight on our scorecards. But the way those judges had
Yeah,
it, best he could have did was a draw. But I feel like those attempts at takedowns, I don't even feel like those were honest attempts. I think he was gassed out, and I think he just like was mentally defeated. And then those leg kicks was really doing him in too.
yeah, I
And he
forgot about
caught him with a couple of knees from the clinch that was brutal. But if you look, it looked like he was leaning on him, like he wasn't really trying, like he felt defeated already.
that. I thought it was kind of funny how Leon went for that same head kick shot. He went for it twice, and then both times when he went for it, Kamaru will block it, and then he'll throw like a little look at Leon, like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
we ain't doing that shit again.
yeah, he ain't finna give me
And the
again.
whole
Type of
time,
look.
the crowd kept chanting, "Headshot dead, headshot dead, headshot dead."
Yeah.
So do you? Because I mean, to me, it sounds like y'all really didn't like it that much, but y'all trying to save face for the main event. Like it was passable. Do you think that it was a fitting end to the trilogy though?
I mean, no, not really, not really, because I feel like I would have put it this way. It should have been a draw, but I'm glad it wasn't because, like you said, they would have probably ran it back for a fourth time. I feel like if it wasn't for the point deduction, Leon definitely won that fight. So I mean, I feel like even the point deduction wouldn't have helped Kamaru. Kamaru definitely didn't win it. You get what I'm saying? So I'm glad. I'm glad it wasn't a draw. Because I don't want to see that fight for a fourth time. Just
Yeah,
because
same. I don't
when
want
you
to see
get a
him fight
lot of
again.
rematches, it holds up the division, and you got guys who deserve title shots who just waiting or fighting other people, and then you never get matchups that you really want to see.
So what's next? What's next for Usman?
If it was
I
me,
think Usman should fight comes out to my
yeah, I would say the same thing. I feel like that should be his next fight. And Leon Edwards said that he wants to take a trip to Miami to watch Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal and give a title shot to the winner. But Dana came on the on the post fight show and said that Kobe Covington is definitely next in line.
What
Hey, I'm
what's
not gonna lie.
what's Masvidal's ranking?
I'll pull it right now
Masvidal
for
is
you.
probably 4 or 5. Gilbert is probably
Now,
2.
Oh, okay. Oh, so that's a good match. That's a 2-4 matchup. That's a really good matchup.
Masvidal is ranked number 11, and
Oh,
Gilbert Burns number 5.
What? Really?
Yeah, yeah,
Number 11?
yeah.
And then it's crazy because if you look at who he lost to Usman
Tomorrow,
twice, who was the champion, and
and
then
then
he
Kobe
lost to
Covington.
Kobe Covington. But Covington is what, 1?
Number 2. Tomorrow Usman number 1.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah, true. I get it because he just lost the belt.
Hey,
so
basically, I think Kobe Covington, to put it in perspective, he's MJF, but in the UFC form, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like extremely over the top. He's just doing anything to get cheap heat. He's gonna say whatever he can to get the crowd to boom and stuff like that. And Honestly, I don't think that he should get the next title shot. Even though I'm a big fan of him and I would like to see him fight Leon Edwards, I feel like the next title shot should go to somebody like Gilbert Burns, who done won. If he beat Masvidal, then he would have won 2 fights in a row, whereas Covington only won 1 fight, his last fight, which was against Jorge Masvidal. So, but
But and I also feel like Kobe. I think part of the reason why they did it, they gave him like a 4 day notice. Everyone should be a backup fighter, and he cut 18 pounds and made the weight. But I feel like if he actually fought Leon Edwards, then Leon's gonna lose his belt. What you think?
yeah, that's what they want. Yeah, I think so too.
And like, we just needed you to sell out the O2. You're not really marketable.
It's kind of like UFC. Yeah, it's kind of like UFC politics in a way. You know what I'm saying? Because like my brother just said, like they gave Leon Edwards the O2 arena to maximize his stardom because they know over here it wouldn't maximize it as much. And then they're going to make him fight Colby Covington, which is going to sell out over here in America. Colby Covington get the belt, and that's the star right there. That's what they want to have the belt on anyway. So,
And Kobe Covington fought for the belt twice against Usman, lost both. But Leon Edwards, he had to go on a 10-fight win streak just to get a title shot. And then now
but then Kobe can win 1 fight, but then get a title shot.
And Kobe ain't fought in 2 years.
Yeah,
why? Because he's suing Jorge Masvidal because Masvidal swung on him at a restaurant.
Okay, okay? That's what that was. It was those two.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a possibility that they may end up having a fight for the title.
Who Masvidal
and Covington, because if Covington fights Edwards, he'll beat him.
They already fought, and Covington beat him already.
Yeah. Covington got like the best gas tank out of him or Marab. They got the 2 best gas tanks in the UFC. And Covington is like a pressure fighter. He gonna put you up against the cage. He's a hell of a wrestler. But because you're worried about him grabbing you and taking you down, it allows him to get strikes off. You get what I'm saying? So he got like the record for the most strikes thrown in the UFC fight. And he'll chain it all together very well. Like he blended very well. He'll punch, grab you, make you think he's gonna take you down, and then when you put your hands down, he'll let go and punch some more, and then he'll take you down. And when he takes you down, it's not one of those like I'm gonna take you down and lay on you. He's trying to finish you, like ground and pound,
nasty elbows, Donkey Kong punches, all that.
And he just put a pace on you that you can't survive. Like he drowned you literally. But yeah, that happened with Masvidal and him in the streets after the fight.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah. Hey,
well,
they asked Kobe Covington. My bad. They asked Kobe Covington how were they able to keep it a secret that he was the backup fighter? Why nobody heard about it? And he said, because real G's move in silence like lasagnas.
Well, fellas, been another tremendous UFC post show. Look forward to doing this many more times. Our next one will be UFC 287, and that'll be around April. It's April 8th, so.
April 8th.
So we'll do the one on the 7th or the 6th. They'll do the pre-show and then the post-show.
Yeah.
We're gonna shoot for the 9th.
And then we also will have your partner on hopefully real soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, MMA fight. He does have a fight coming up. When? April, what do you say that was?
April 29th at Gulfstream Park.
April 29th at Gulfstream Park here in Fort Lauderdale. Zay will definitely have me the pictures soon so I can just post them up during regular streams, and I'll also put them on my community wall so we can support that fighter. You guys got any parting words before I close out?
Yeah, because we're not doing a show for the fight Saturday. I just want to get your pick real quick for Sanhagen versus Chito Vera. I'm going with Chito Vera by decision.
Man, when Corey Sandhagen first came on the scene, I saw his first fight, and I was immediately just like how you called out Jake Haley a little while ago.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was me
you
with
called him out.
Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah,
And but with that being said, I feel like I want Cheeto to win just because Sandhagen had a title shot already. Cheeto been deserving one, and the person they trying to give the shot to, Cheeto beat already. So I don't know who I think gonna win because I feel like it's a good matchup, but I would say Cheeto. I'm gonna just put it this way: if it goes to decision, Cheeto might lose. If it get a finish, then he might win.
true.
All right, well, there you have it. Another tremendous UFC Straight Talk reviews, UFC 286. And I thank my panel guests so much, Bones and Zay, and I'm so glad that Venkat redid the overlay to add their names in it, because I definitely couldn't do this one by myself.
Keep up the good work.
and look at that, their mics were good the whole time. So peace to everybody. Peace to everybody in the chat. Peace to everybody in the clouds. Make sure to subscribe to the channel because I'm still hearing that people that don't even know that I have a channel. So please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get the word out. Also, you can like us on Facebook at the Straight Talk Society. This is also streaming over there, but I'd much rather you watch it here. Just YouTube. So I'd much rather you watch it over here. So again, peace to the panel. I will be back in like 30 minutes. The debaters at SVDL seem to have a love-hate relationship with me. So I'm going to open up my panel to have them come on here and smoke that they think they want. So
is that the gloves off thing that I saw on your page?
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing next? Okay.
Yeah. It was. Hey, it's crazy that this. I'm the new debater in the league, and I'm the new debater in the league, and everybody think that they could throw their jabs in at me, but it's all good. I live for this.
And you're the new puppy in the yard, and you pissing all over it, huh?
Yeah, everybody. And I'm gonna make y'all feel even more like shit right now. The rankings came out, and I'm number 6. There's no way in the world that I should be the number 6 debater in y'all league. That means that y'all not stepping up. So take that. So
shots fired.
So tune in at 7 o'clock, which I still feel I should be at number 4, but we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. So y'all stay tuned to that. Y'all stay tuned to that. That show will be up in less than 25 minutes. So until next time, y'all stay safe. And I'm gonna close you out with this banging video that Venkat made. I know it's an intro video, but I'm gonna run it back again. So until next time, peace.
Peace.
All right, gentlemen, we've been over the rules. Protect yourself at all times. Follow my instructions. Keep it clean. Touch gloves if you wish. Let's do it.
once, you gon' respect this. Plus your nuts with touch the dust, you try to check this. You ain't insane, I write your name down on my checklist. You think I'm playing, I leave you laying, I leave you breathless. I'm not a heathen, please believe I'm breathing for a reason. Until I'm bleeding, really feeling this world is so misleading. Sacrifice your life at night while facing certain sorrow. Your existence is at stake, you might not make tomorrow. Lost my heart when I was crossed, don't wanna make amends. Much too smart, my afterthought, don't wanna make no friends. If you're a fraud, then it's so hard to get a second chance. You could die in front of my eyes, won't get a second glance. As human beings, instead of being so many try to be. You ain't seen what I have seen in my society. So F the killers, F the dealers, F the police. Middle finger in the sky till I die, no peace. Middle finger to the world. Every man, every woman, every boy, every girl.
Always seek out the truth for yourself.